What's up, everybody? It's another edition of the SuperStar Show with yours truly, Chad Levine, the SuperStar Lender. Hope everyone's having a good holiday season so far, getting to all the lights and light shows and belly feeding, feeling good shopping and all that other good jazz. I myself am doing as much of the Christmas stuff as I possibly can. For those of you who don't know, I grew up Jewish. I have an Irish Catholic wife, so I feel like I'm making up for lost time when it comes to the Christmas festivities. I'm super excited to bring on this guy. I've been a big fan of his for a long time, been following him a lot on the socials. Super successful in the South Jersey area. Also doing a lot of good stuff with coaching and motivation and all that good stuff. Looking forward to really getting down to the juice here with it all. But just a fun thought. We're going to open up today's show with a little story about the realtor event that went down in Atlantic City literally yesterday. I think it ended. Or is it today? It might be today. Everything's such a blur when you go down to this thing. But Matt and I are going to talk briefly about what went down. We don't know all the details, but the footage is quite interesting. But aside from that, I hope everyone's having a good holiday. We're going to do one more show next week and probably take off the following week for the Christmas holiday. But as always, the goal here is to find the people that are succeeding in the real estate business, figure out the who, the what, and the why, to inspire you to do better and be the best at what you do. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Mr. Matt. I'm going to mess up the last name. I'm going to try again. Is it Curcio? Matt Curcio, from the Real Broker team, which is a brand new business agency model out there. We're going to talk about that. What's up, brother? How are you?
Great, man. Great. Excited to be here talking about all this fun stuff.
Yeah, man.
A good story now. Since
we have a great story. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to set the tone for everybody. So every year, besides COVID, is this thing called triple play. And from people that don't know, you live under a rock, but it's literally agents from New York, New Jersey, PA. The purpose originally was educational and CEs. It's just become a bonanza of everyone in the business that's in mortgages and real estate and title. It's just a huge party. But I want to just say this, and then we're going to talk about the fight. Matt and I run into each other at the Harrah's Pool, was it Tuesday night? Yep. Unbeknownst to either of us, that he was the guest on the show this week. Yep. Hilarious. I literally, the next day I checked my Facebook messaging. I was like, holy shit, he's on the show this week.
Yeah.
So let's start off. Let's set the tone, Matt. Tell us the area you rep in terms of real estate, and just give us real quick the name of the company again and where you're based out of.
Absolutely. So I started back in 2001, right? Mm-hmm. But, right now, I started in South Jersey, eventually got a Pennsylvania real estate license as well. Don't do much in Pennsylvania, but, I do cover there. The company I'm with is called Real Broker, and I was fortunate enough to be the first one to open a branch office in a virtual model. So my team is the first branch office where we actually have physical space. And it's a great model, right? As COVID kind of, there's been several real estate companies to do the virtual thing and try to open like one office per state. And, that started working, but COVID forced a lot of other brokerages that were traditional and that have office spaces all over the place to do this. And once I saw this model, like it's just a no-brainer, the average agent, top agents, I grew to be one of RE/MAX's top individuals and top teams over the years. And we saw the same 10% of the people in the buildings. And, when the brokerage can eliminate that cost and give it back to the agents in multiple ways, that's why I'm at, this company, great leadership and great people.
And we're going to break that down in a little bit, but so South Jersey, everyone says South Jersey. Are you true? Like all counties, all parts, like where's your primary focus? Like where are you from? Where's your sweet spot?
So I am across the bridges in Philly, right? Okay. So I cover about 40 minutes. I tell everybody Trenton to like Woodstown-ish, to the Delaware Bridge is my sweet spot. Obviously, I'm licensed in New Jersey. I've sold some of my family places up in North Jersey because that's where I'm from. But in general, Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, and Salem County is my sweet spot.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, well, real fast, I'm just gonna, now that we're on air, just have you recount. So I don't know anyone that hasn't seen this video, right? Yeah. And you witnessed this thing firsthand. I've been at a few triple plays. I've never seen a brawl like this.
No, I don't think I've seen a fight. I've seen some people like argue with each other, but I've never seen a fight there.
Just tell everyone what you witnessed, and then we'll move past it. But we have to talk about it.
It was absolutely crazy. Are we going to watch it?
Yeah, maybe you'll play. Jay, you going to play this thing? Let's see. Look at this. Oh my God. So you're in front of this? You're watching this?
No, I didn't see. Like, this is probably when I walked away because I knew shit was, everything was going crazy. When people
watch this hit though. Watch this. Oh God. That hit. That was quite a hit right there.
And this idiot with a chair, like.
Oh my God. So how many people do you think were involved? Like 30?
So I happen to be standing in the line. It's probably around the corner there. This is gone, right? I was gone by the time this all happened because I was standing waiting in line for food. Everybody was waiting in line. And then all of a sudden you heard like a train of people come down the hallway. And I keep telling everybody, it looked like a football team running into a restaurant. And then it turned into Roadhouse.
Oh my God!
People started screaming, and I saw the phones come out. But I don't know who it was. I heard it was a mortgage company versus a
real estate
real estate company. And I don't know. I don't know the truth, man. Because then I've heard other things, and then everybody's got different.
Woo! That hit. Every time he replays that hit, that guy just had no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then this girl, oh my God. Anyway,
almost got her head taken off. That's just insanity, man. And look, that's 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, and like you said when we were off air, really nothing good can happen at 2:30 in the morning. So
no, not when people
that's about all we'll have to say about that. But I figured you and I should talk about it.
And fair, in all fairness to triple play, that nonsense doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
There's been people commenting like, oh, that's why I don't go to events. Like, it really doesn't happen. And that was 2:30 in the morning. So if you're out at 2:30 in the morning, arguing with people, unfortunately, they don't have the right minds on to hold an argument.
All right. Well, that's all the weight we're going to use in that segment. So that's over. But I figure we give it a little light. So let's start about your beginning. So you're from North Jersey.
Yeah.
Where in North Jersey are you from?
Actually, the point of New Jersey, all the way in Vernon, which is where Action Park and everything was. I don't know if you heard Class Action Park. It's a big documentary from where I'm from.
No.
In South Jersey here, they opened something called Action Mountain, but it was the world's most dangerous water park.
Action Park, baby. Only tri-state area people know about from New York, man. So I know about Action Park.
Yeah, all the New Yorkers. That's the ski mountain and the water park.
Action Park. Wait. Okay, so now you get off, fangirl. Get off. Okay, now tell me.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What is it again? Explain it to me. Give me the break.
It's called Action Park.
Right.
I grew up in literally a ski mountain town in New Jersey that nobody knows exists.
Okay.
And nobody from South Jersey, I should say.
Okay.
So where everybody in our market goes to the Poconos.
Uh-huh.
The New York people would all go to New Jersey in a town called Vernon.
Oh.
And it's a ski resort town. It's very similar to Poconos. It's got one or two. There's another mountain, but the main mountain was called Action Park, and that would be your ski resort in the winter, and then it turns into the world's largest water park in the summer.
Really?
Yeah. It did. I mean, I don't know how they did it. I think the amount of water or gallons of water going through it, but it was awesome, and it was a very dangerous park. So it had a lot of lawsuits, some deaths and stuff like that. The guy made crazy rides. So it was really cool. But anyway, that's where I went to high school, up in the ski mountains.
All right. And what was family dynamic like? Siblings, mom and dad?
Yeah, so I'm one of five.
Oh, you're one of five? Wow.
Yeah, one of five. I'm the middle kid.
You're the middle kid. All right.
Yep, got a baby sister 10 years later. She was a surprise. So, but yeah, four boys and a girl.
Oh, so 4 boys. Okay. You guys all tight?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And then, was there a heavy competition in the house growing up? You guys athletics or music? What were you guys into?
So if you see behind me here,
Yeah.
I love the sport of baseball.
Okay.
And played softball too. I actually still play in a men's baseball league.
Oh, nice.
I coach my son and daughter's teams. So
Nice.
that was important to me.
Okay.
And we were all athletes. Pretty much.
What were mom and dad? What did mom and dad do? What did they? Were they?
My father was UPS, retired union. He also had a wallpaper and painting company.
Nice.
For his weekend work. Mom was at home mom until I guess later on. Then she had a job at the local. Yeah, again, it's where I grew up, man. It's small town. We didn't get our first Dunkin' Donuts till about 10 years after I left.
Right.
It was 25 minutes to a McDonald's.
And was your dad there when UPS went public?
I don't know, man. He's retired, so he retired young. He organizes for the Teamsters, so he got into that side of it.
Oh, so, good for him. Oh, good for him. That's cool. So, all right. So, small town. So, to give me an idea. So, when you grow up in these so everyone knows everyone. Like, what were you like? Super small class sizes? Like what?
No. Because it was a mountain town, everybody went to the same school, right?
Got it.
So it's a very large. I think it's one of Jersey's largest towns by square miles.
Oh.
So I was a Group 4 school. So we had 1,400 in our class.
Oh wow. He's giving me the action.
That's the old Action Park.
The world's largest water park. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Were you in any of these videos?
I worked there in high school.
Oh, all right. There we go.
Yeah.
What was your thing? What did you man? Were you the go-kart guy or what'd you do?
I was in food and beverage.
Okay.
So we had to feed everybody.
That kind of set the tone.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So looking back and seeing your life back then, give me a synopsis. What were you like growing up? Was it like where did you start to build the personality you're seeing now? Like what were some of the things you did back then?
I guess I started working very young at about 12 or 13 years old at a restaurant, washing dishes. And I had a hard work ethic because my dad worked a lot. And, at the end of the day, I think, working so young, buying my own stuff. I wanted my own snowboarding gear and the nicest baseball glove I could get, and stuff like that. So I think that put the work ethic in there, and then working in, with adults when I was really young, helped me, just be more personable. I wouldn't say I was any sort of a class clown, but I had a pretty good personality and all that. And that we had a core group of friends, 90s kids, graduated in 97. So,
nice. I graduated in 2000. I was a 90s kid. I get it.
Yeah. So the whole, the rap culture, Tupac, Biggie, all that's what we were listening to. And
is that what they did up? You guys still had it going on up in the
we weren't country music kids. So
that's good though. Yeah. So are there any good stories or anything that you can think of in that time of your life that stood out?
Man, to compare different to what happens nowadays. Obviously, we didn't have to deal with everything being on video and all that. I feel bad for all these kids nowadays,
Yeah, true.
But man, I would just say, we hung out a lot at people's houses. You had the people that were close to your neighborhood because we were in a mountain town. So you didn't really like my high school. I met people that were in my grade that lived 30 minutes away. Yeah. And, we kind of had two halves of the town. So it was just a different dynamic, but you kind of partied and hung out together. And everybody was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and was that close to the city? Was that close to New York?
It was about an hour and 10 minutes to New York.
Okay. Did you do a lot in the city? Did you go in a lot or not?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. My brother kind of was into music, and he ended up working for radio up there. Wow. And he went to a lot of concerts, but again, like, MetLife Stadium now, that was almost an hour away.
Got it. Okay. All right. So there's not much excitement there. I'm trying to pull it out.
Honestly, I mean, we're on the bank and that's it, man. Like, we had bonfires instead of parties in places because there was nothing out.
But it's good though, because I think that starting out from there and then making your way more towards like the metropolis and areas of higher densities, you probably always remember where you come from, and you have the, there's a certain culture and respect of the smaller towns that I've always appreciated. I really have.
Yeah, when I came down south, man, it was like, honestly, there's just not a lot to do for a kid that lives in those mountain towns.
Were you sick on the slopes? Were you good? Like,
what do they call it? Yeah.
What do they call it?
We were there before the X Games, so we were the kids that terrorized the slopes. We carried our snowboard, we walked up, we made jumps.
What do they call it? What's the term? Fresh? No. There's like a term that snowboarders use. I can't.
Powder.
Yeah, powder. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that shows you how much I know about.
Yeah, we're in my office here, so I just hung this the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are you still into it?
I am, man. I love it.
That's cool.
So my last coaching group that I was with, we went to the X Games a couple times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got to ski, snowboard Jackson Hole, because honestly, I just East Coast mountains most of my life.
Yeah.
So
do you ever do the crazy? You ever do like the helicopter jump like crazy? No,
I'm not that crazy. It's a different kind of riding when you hit that deep powder. So, yeah. Out west was a different game, but it's not hard. Look, we would get dropped off at the mountains and get picked up at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. So some of the kids I graduated with, a couple of them got in the X Games.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yep. That's cool. The mountain now has a kid I graduated with. His younger brother was a silver medalist at the Olympics and in the X Games multiple years. So yeah.
Oh, so you guys produced some high level talent out of there.
Skaters too. There were a lot of skating and snowboarding up there. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really. It's the only thing to do in the town, and they adopted it and they used it, right? So we would all have seasons passes, so we would just get dropped off, and hey, they're at the mountain today. That's it.
That's pretty cool. I mean, look, at the end of the day, all joking aside, there's probably something to be said about that, because the majority of us stick our faces in front of electronic devices and have really abandoned a lot. So that's a good thing,
Yeah.
That's
it's still a great town. I loved it. Just at 17, 18 years old, there's just not a lot.
Yeah, I get it.
When I was dropped off down here, I actually moved in with my oldest brother, and he was in Glassboro at the time. So I was like, holy shit, there's 4 different fast food places in 2 miles, and there's people everywhere. And
now there's DoorDash. You just hit a button.
right. Yeah. So
well, I'm going to tell you my skiing story. This sums up my entire life. I went one time, I think it was Blue Mountain. And I was, I've been chunky my whole life, but it just was part of the whole, my love for food. But I get on this mountain. My parents say, all right, we're going to give you a lesson. I took a lesson, thought I could do it. I'm coming down the bunny slope. And this couple decided, rather than letting go of their hands, they were just going to clothesline me. So I get clotheslined. I must have been, I don't know, 8 or 9, something like that. That was it. I'm done. I took the skis off. I sat at the lodge. I had like 14 hot chocolates, and I was good to go.
Yeah. One of my brothers never set foot on the slopes. Backyard. We all had our backyards that were hilly, so we could get enough done there. But he said never will he ever go. Some people up there don't do it, even though it's in their backyard.
Hey, I guess I can understand. After my experience, I can completely understand.
Yeah, those mountains are covered with people nowadays. It's crazy. So you actually have to be decent.
Yeah, a lot of vacationers, Airbnbs, and all that stuff.
It's all New York. New York goes over every weekend. It's surprisingly, it's really expensive.
Yeah,
nowadays.
Yeah,
to go up there and stay there, and everywhere is expensive now to ski. You're spending $100 a ticket.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I took my whole family up there, and I was like, did I just pay almost $1,000 to go to an East Coast mountain for 4 hours?
Well, all right. So let's get into this. So what's in your mind? You're 17. You're like, I got to get out of this place, right?
Yeah, so I went to junior college, played for their baseball team.
Okay.
Got to go
Tell
to
me
Florida.
about baseball. What position? What'd you play?
Shortstop, second base.
Shortstop. All right. All right. So you had a little bit of skills playing junior college.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
You get around the bases quick?
I that wasn't my strongest point, but I did well hitting. They picked, everybody would pick on me that I wasn't that fast because I look like I should be, but
Yeah.
but I held my own with the bat and on the field. So
before I cut you off, did you say Florida? Did I hear you say Florida?
Well, so my team, my junior college team at Sussex County Community College, we had a new coach take over or something. They recruited me and I was like, yeah, cool. We got to go to play Florida in like the Clearwater stadiums.
Wow.
So it's a badass field. Came back. I didn't mean the coach didn't see eye to eye. My grades, GPA was going down.
I was going to say, what does that mean? You and the coach didn't see eye to eye?
It's just, he wasn't like my favorite person. And
because I think you're trying to it's that's the nicest way of saying it.
Yeah. So in the end, I dropped out.
Yeah.
I called my brother. I was like, look, I hate school. I almost went to Boston to where my brother went to school to be an engineer. I just didn't want to pay the money. I worked real young, so I understood money. Yeah. So I wasn't going to pay. I think it was after any sort of financial aid, it was still going to be like $12,000 a semester. And I was like, yeah, I'm really only doing this.
What school? What school?
That was Wentworth.
I've never heard of it. Okay.
Yeah. It's they got a couple engineering colleges up there. So they're Rhode Island. So I opted out of that and they hired me because I knew the software because I learned it in high school that they were learning in college, but he had guys that didn't go to college that had to learn it anyway. So glad I didn't go because I ended up trying it and I hated being behind the computer and just drawing, they drew stores. I hated that. Bartended with our mutual introduction last week.
Yeah. So let's not praise over that. Beep. We're gonna press pause for the cause, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay. So you and Mark Gatta have a storied past. He did ask me to mention, was it the Spirit of Philadelphia that you both bartended on?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got to hear about this. So I got to set the tone. So Spirit of Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Traditionally speaking, is it for tourists? Is it mostly people coming in?
No, man, it's honestly, I didn't know shit about it, right? I was landscaping and working a little bit for the guy that I came down here for to be the engineer. I worked for him in his plastics company, and then I was landscaping. Heard the 1-800 bartender song and went and got a bartending license.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
That's what did it.
Yeah. And then I applied, I don't know where I applied, local restaurants, and somehow I applied there. They hired me right away. And it's private party. It's a lot of private party.
Okay.
So, companies, schools, a lot of companies.
Does every major city have that?
It's a actual franchise. And I know when we were there was like 9 boats, 2 in New York. They have a higher level boat, as well, an all glass one. And then it's Virginia, Boston, God, I don't need that again, up and down. Yeah. Anywhere where there's like they're not in oceans, so
harbors,
wherever the canals are where they can go up and down for about 3 hours.
Got it. And so basically people rent them out. They do these round and round trips, and you're bartending. Now there's no entertainment, right? You guys didn't.
There is entertainment.
Did you dance on the bar or sing or do any of that?
No. So the bartenders are separate, right? So they had waiters and waitresses, and they were for drinks only because it was buffet style.
Okay.
And then they had a song and dance team that would come out and get people off their seats and go make them dance and stuff like that. And they would do a little performance.
Super cheesy, or?
I mean, look, those people take it seriously, right? Because they were in theater and all that stuff, so they had a routine. And this is a corporation, so they have this running on 8 boats.
It's true.
And like a date night package, you could probably still buy today for between $100 and $200 a ticket to go sit on a boat, go up and down the river, and then song and dance.
That's not bad. So you two bald-headed twin brothers meet, right?
We weren't bald at that time.
I was going to ask you. That was my next question. Were you both bald then?
Nope. I had dyed blonde hair.
Okay. I wish we could find Jason. See what you can dig up.
Yeah, you'll find some old real estate stuff, but it's all dark there. But yeah.
And so the two of you meet, and you both are working behind the bar, or was he an entertainer? I'm just curious.
I would love to say he was an entertainer, but no, he was behind the bar.
and how long were you guys there together for?
Man, I think I was there about 3 years. So,
and Mark was there 3 years too?
I mean, I think he came after me, but not that far after, and we kind of stayed for a while. And yeah, we got. He was a good dude, man. We went to. We just got along, you know.
Yeah. Any interesting stories out of that? Any celebrities? Any? You see any interesting? I mean, I know you must have had
absolutely. I feel like Allen Iverson was there one time.
Okay.
But all private parties were, cool. You didn't know they have a midnight cruise too, which is little funny. You see all the outfits you would expect to see at mid 12 to 2 cruise in Philly. So those were fun, but overall now it was cool, man.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, that's at least a little more excitement. Now we're getting into it a little. I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know how much you wanted to divulge. I figured I would attempt to bring in some good juice out of you, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that you're game facing me with. But I'm just gonna let it go.
Nice.
A 12 to 2 private party. I'm sure there's some crazy stuff going on.
Well, it was better for the earlier nights, right? We would be done at midnight, and then Mark, me, and a bunch of the servers and the cliques when you're in the restaurant industry would go out and hang out in Philly together.
Yeah.
So we had a couple places we would go. And
what was your spot? Were those like the shampoo Egypt days? Like where were you guys?
No, because you were done work, right? And it was around midnight. So we just walked over to Old City, and there was
you go to Five Spot?
Place. Yeah.
You remember Five Spot in the little on Bank Street? It was like a little jazz club up top. No, that wasn't.
Man. They all used to go to Mexican Food Factory or something.
Mexican Food Factory? What?
It was Mexican something, and they just served us. They were cool with us, and all the people knew each other. And you didn't have to be like, it wasn't like you were going out on a Friday night. So it was different.
Yeah, different vibe. I get it. Did you live in the city then?
No, I always lived in Glassboro.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. All right. And then so take me to the next level. So you're in that particular. I wanted to spend a little time there because it was interesting. Yep. Are you still staying in food and hospitality, or eventually when?
Well, so it's funny actually. One of the guys that me and Mark worked with, and I had been in food early on. Right when I was 13, I was washing dishes, and I saw how people get roped into that business because there's so much cash.
Yeah.
And at one point, I said to the chef, I was like, I think I want to be a chef, and he's like, let me tell you something. I'm here every time people are out to dinner. And he said, and every holiday, every time you would think you're going to be home with your family, somebody's here cooking for you. Yeah. I was like, got it. Okay. So maybe I don't know. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it was funny. I think his name was Dan on the boat. Moved to Philly, didn't have a car, been bartender forever. So we were in our early 20s. I think I was 21 as a bartender, maybe 20 and then 21. And dude comes in 35 years old or something. And I was like, so what do you got? What do you, what are your goals or anything? And he's like, I got 10 grand in the bank and I've lived all over the place. I've worked in a bunch of places. And I'm like, I don't think I want that in 10 years. So I'm going to find something to do.
I'm good, Dan. I'm good.
Yeah. I like, hey, you had a great life. Tons of party. You get to go, that whole work environment's fun, everybody hanging out together. It's like your own little high school again, right? But you're all adults and hanging out. I could see the lure, especially in the 20s, right? Mm-hmm. I could see like going, having a good time, like especially if you get behind a good bar in Philly, right? Yeah. Like a good bar in one of the nicer spots, and you walk away with $500-600, in a night, and you're socialized. I could see it. It can rope you in, man.
Yeah.
Where anything else you do, you sit back and you're like, this isn't worth it. Why did I work all week when I could go do 2 shifts and get the same?
Yeah.
You know,
but it's funny because every time there's a lot of people in real estate that used to do it, and they'll say that their networks are super deep because of it, and it helped their business and their spheres because of that stuff.
It helps your personality, right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain personality, you know, that does very well in waitering, you know, waitressing and the bartending side. That, you know, I tell everybody, look, sales is a learned business. Are there people that can do it better? Yes. Outgoing personality. Mm-hmm. So the reason I can say a bartender should do well in sales is because they have to be front facing, belly to belly sales every day.
It's true.
Right? They're just not selling shit, right? They're just making stuff, but they have to hold a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you are selling. I mean, it's the experience, right? I mean, that's really what, because at the end of the day, although I shouldn't say that, I've had some pretty shitty old fashions in my day. So, so if your drinks suck, you got a big problem. But what I learned from Matt Donnelly a couple episodes ago is he faked it till he made it, because he told at his first job, he said, I know how to 10 bar, and they left him alone. He had no idea what he was doing. But because he was a nice guy, he ended up making it. So, all right. So when did this realization come in? Like, at what point are you in your mid 20s? Like, how long?
No, this is early 20s. So I was early 21, 20s. I think.
All right.
And it's funny. My brother was in a bowling league, right? I didn't know anything about it. And I didn't have a big, like a large group of friends down here in South Jersey. So I would do that with him once in a while. And, you know, somehow I wanted to learn about investing, or, you know, so I remember saying to my brother, like, we need to do something, right? We need to buy houses or do something. And then he said, that guy buys houses. We should talk to him. I said, hey, man, I heard you buy houses. What can we do to buy houses? And he goes, here, read this book, or go buy this book. And it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I knew you were gonna. I knew it. Like, I knew it. So you actually got something out of that book,
man. When I tell you, that book changed my life. That conversation changed my life. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Hey, listen. I'm not gonna. I read it, and then I read it, and then I read it, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe
some of those principles were in your head already.
That's a good idea. Okay. All right. Didn't think of it like that. Okay.
Yeah. So to me, I sat back and I was like, all right, I'm very handy, like work wise, construction wise, because my dad was, and all that. And I was just like, all right, this guy says he's flipping a couple houses. This is back in 99, 2000. Right. And, tells me to read this book, read the book. By the way, high school C student, dropped out of, you know, after half the season of baseball. I was like, I'm out of college. I hate this shit. Yeah. So I never read a book cover to cover.
Yeah.
Just did my work assignments at school.
Yeah.
That book
I was the same way.
I read end to end. Right.
So tell us what you get out of that book. Because if it was that life changing, some of that must be ingrained. What do you get out of that?
So I mean, at the end of the day, for those who don't know the book, a guy had two dads basically. Mm-hmm. His friend's dad, I think it was, who was very rich and a business owner. And he had his dad who they had enough money and they were, I think, wealthier or, you know, higher end. But he worked for like school systems or whatever it was. So you had the W-2 employee and you had the role model of the business owner. Mm-hmm. And when he learned different principles from each. And, you know, the financial freedom life is learned from that, you know, the guy who owned all the businesses, bought real estate and did all that. And that's Rich Dad, Poor Dad in a nutshell. But, you know, Robert Kiyosaki still has huge followings and all that stuff. And he still trains on his cash flow quadrant. But overall, it just made me want to learn more about real estate.
Got it.
Then I told my brother I registered us both.
Does the way you think, like when you were done reading that, because the one thing I'm taking from it too, Matt, is that you didn't just read it, you actually implemented and executed. That's the tough part, right?
Yeah.
People can go and listen and it's just like in and out and in and out. You absorbed it, you took it in. Did your view literally change after that? Like, did you start thinking about things totally different?
Yeah, I mean, it made me sit back and realize, like, and again, I started working at 13, so I had a very, sharp mind when it came to how much can I earn, where can, what can I do? Hours, there's only 40, 80 hours in a work week, depending on what you do. So what can I do? So then, at the end, I just had that knowledge, right? So I was like, we got to do something else. We can buy rental properties that can pay us monthly. He's got so many. I need to find more people, right? Go to real estate school, learn about it. I didn't care to sell real estate, but I had been told to do it by a couple people, and I was like, all right, who cares? Let's do it. Ran into a buddy halfway through real estate school, and he was like, hey, when you're done, you should come work with me. He was my age, right? We were dating girls that were that went to high school together, right? Again, I didn't know that many people, but he was from this area, and I was the mutual introduction to have those two meet up or whatever. So 4 months go by, whatever, because I was in that night class, and I came out, met with him. Well, I met with him when I was in it. He was at Prudential, which down here, Prudential Fox and Roach was before. Now it's Berkshire. Then by the time I got done the class, he was at a Remax, which is very odd for people to start at a Remax. So I interviewed.
Why is that? Tell her why is that?
Remax is a fee-based brokerage.
Got it.
So you're not going to come out of real estate school and go pay 20 grand.
Got it.
To your broker, right? On a monthly basis.
Got it.
So that attracted only the people that were top sellers.
Makes sense. Okay.
But put me in a room with them, right? And then me and Andy worked together and kind of formed a partnership / team before that model ever existed. That's back in 01. And then by
01, man, you've really seen the markets fluctuate. Woo!
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep. And me and him actually had to separate our business. Unfortunately, Andy ended up passing away years later. Too young, but he had some addictions that he couldn't shake. But at the end of the day, we were tight, and we were two young, hungry salespeople that worked. We did what we needed to do back then. Back then, we were hustling HUD homes, calling investors a lot. That I kind of knew a little bit about construction, so that was a good niche for me. By 03, I was one of the top agents in the brokerage. And then just ran with that till 2010, created a team, pushed that team to be one of the top 5 teams in New Jersey, multiple years, and top 10 consistently my whole time at Remax, and then went to EXP, and now with Real Broker.
So I want to start. We're going to go back a little. I like to peel back the onion. So at the very beginning, you don't know anybody. You know nothing. You have no sphere, right? For lack of a better term.
I'm 21 years old.
No sphere. Like, you're in an area where you know no one, right? Yep. You just put your blinders on and you just chose a direction. Because one of the things that I think, especially in real estate, you always ask agents, especially the ones that aren't there yet, right? They say, all right, well, what do you do? Where do you, I sell everything. I do everything. How do you market? I market to everyone. No, it doesn't make it. That's not how. You got to choose something, right? Yep. Somewhere, someplace to hit hard, and either it works or it doesn't work, but at least you learned out of it, falling forward, right?
Yeah.
So with you, and talk about this HUD homes thing. So this is interesting. Again, it's always educational. Tell people what that means. What is a HUD home? What is that?
So HUD home is they still have a list that comes out. I don't follow it as much anymore. But basically I was working with investors. Okay. And by the way, I never stopped wanting to invest in real estate too. Right. So me and my brother brought a guy's course. His name was Russ Whitney. So I was learning about that and building your empire, doing stuff. And we were up to about 10 or 12 doors, I think.
Wow.
Quickly in those years.
Using what? What kind of products were you using? Fannie Freddie? What were you using?
So I bought my first one with owner occupied, multi-units. I like duplexes.
Okay.
So we had multi-unit properties, I think, and we had a couple singles and 3 or 4 duplexes.
All Fannie Freddie? All Fannie Freddie stuff?
I mean, it was no doc we had no doc or stated income that I tell people, like, I had over $1 million in loans.
The glory days, man.
Yeah, like you're a bartender. Technically, I'm only a bartender, I guess, because I haven't made enough commission that counts yet. So, and oh wait, you'll give me $1 million? What? Buy it, put 10% or buy it with 5% down, then refi it and take 95% out of a higher value.
And the best part of it is, literally, you're one of the guys that kept these properties. You were able to like make them. So many people didn't, which is why the subprime market happened. Yeah. But regardless, okay. So your first really street education is in the HUD stuff, but more importantly, it's these investors. So you were helping them build their wealth, right?
So I learned, I kind of, again, working with a partner, right? Me and Andy. Mm-hmm. Andy was an excellent salesperson. Mm-hmm. He knew how to hustle, right? Mm-hmm. And I still, to this day, I just go back and I'm like, holy shit, man. Like when he wanted money, it was like, we're selling shit. And we would challenge each other, calling for sell by owners, doing some stuff. But overall, the HUD homes used to pay up to 5% commission.
Really?
Yeah. So the list would come out on Thursday, right? And you would get a new list in Camden County, new list in Gloucester County. We would fax it to people. We would, we started building a list of who would buy these things. And you could reduce your commission to help raise the net to HUD or not, right?
Yeah.
So overall, we had the calculation. The formula still works today too, by the way. But in general, we would take that list, go to all the investors that we knew. We would go visit the property. All right, this one needs a kitchen and bathroom, and it's probably worth, 160 on the, back then we had different numbers, right?
Yeah.
You were buying these things for half of what you were buying them for today.
Crazy.
But we would just go and call everybody and start doing that. Then I ended up in a coaching program after, I succeeded on the buy side.
So you're doing well with HUD. You're finding
HUD and everything. It was just vacant properties, all that.
Yeah.
We
so
were actually, we were doing short sale too when nobody knew what short sale was. So back in 01, I was doing 02 probably. I probably did a couple short sales. We would see the high grass and say, hey, if you want to sell your house, we got an investor. And if you owe too much, we know how to tell your bank to take less. Before anybody knew about it. Right before the 07, market turn and everybody had to learn it.
Interesting.
So that's who I worked most well with. And then, at 24 and 25, I had enough friends locally that I became the go-to, hey, Matt's selling real estate.
Now your sphere kicks in.
Yeah.
Now your sphere. Yeah. Yep. Now your sphere. So you started really in a niche, and a really nice niche actually, because you were really forward thinking. Really were. I mean, and you fell into it, which is awesome. And then these investors probably loved you because you were their ground, their boots on the ground, right? Helping them find these deals. Yeah. So you're building a sphere based on where you live, and then now you have this other network of investors, right? Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was playing sports, I was still playing softball, men's softball around here. So those guys started calling me and kind of got adopted into the Pittman world from different teams I played on. And all those guys were around my age, and they started buying their first house.
And did you make it known? Were you doing a lot of self-branding, self-awareness?
But back then it was different, right? Because we didn't have Instagram and Facebook.
Sure.
So it was word of mouth, And I mean, I would have a suit on or a tie on, and they'd be like, what the hell are you doing for work? And I'm selling houses. And, that I became known in our local community as a guy to talk to about real estate.
Okay, so now I get it. So you're hitting it hard on the investment side, and you really hit a nice niche. Then your sphere starts to kick in. So tell us how you become number 5. How do you do that?
After me and Andy had to separate our business, right? Then I found Floyd Wickman's coaching program.
Okay,
right.
Floyd, does that still exist?
What's that?
Does it still exist?
I was told it may. So he had a program called Sweat Hogs. If anybody's heard of Kelly.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
So Bold is almost a copy of it, honestly.
Okay.
So Bold at Keller Williams was created with similar values, and it's a cold calling course.
Mm-hmm.
So my broker looked at me and he said, I said, I can't afford $1,000, and he said, that's the exact reason why you're signing up for this. And I was like, shit. All right, I'll do it.
And who's your broker? Where are you then?
So I was with Remax, one broker, Randall Jones, for 17 years.
Okay. So what did he do for your career? He taught you how to what?
Everything. I mean, he was my mentor as a broker. You know what I mean? Did not the sales side, right? We kind of sought out the information for that, but overall, how to be a good realtor, ethics, and all that stuff. I just saw him. I saw him at Triple Play, and overall, just a good mentor, right? And that helped me. Forcing us, the people that he knew would succeed in the class to do the class. I mean, you literally had to show up at the office at least 3 days and have your broker sign a document that said you were there at 9 a.m. and you were making your calls. And back then it was get the phone book, pick a street, go to the letter Z, because every other realtor starts at A and stops by letter B. So you go Z and you go backwards.
Okay. And what was the shit? What was the shit? What was the shit? What did Sweat Hogs? What was give me like the core?
Taught me how to get on the phones.
Okay, got it. And then what was it? What was your angle when you were on the phones? What was it? You remember?
Yeah. If I left a voicemail, it'd be Chad. My name's Matt. I have an important real estate matter I'd like to discuss with you. And you'll call me back for that, right? So give me a call at da-da-da. And then if I got you on the phone, hey, do you know anybody who's interested in buying or selling a home now or in the near future?
Oh, that's it. Simple.
If you ask enough people that question, I promise you'll get a yes.
Interesting. Okay. Fair enough.
And I called the neighborhood I lived in first. I beat out one of the top brokers in the market. And I'd see the guy all the time. His son is now probably going to buy a home from me next year. But, he says, Matt, I still remember. And you didn't tell me till later that we were your first client ever. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, and it literally, man, we had every phone, right? We had the first flip phone, the Nextels we were walkie-talkie and on. Like we went through all that in growth mode. But it was just cool because he hired me based on gut check. I lived in the market, and he was like, I think this kid's going to do it. And this is a market not like today where everything sells. You still needed to do marketing and stuff. And got 4 listings in that course in that 8-week or 9-week time frame. Put 1.8 million together.
Wow.
So do the math, right? Almost 2 million, almost 50 grand, 50, 60 grand.
Jeez.
And they made us carry around on a sheet of paper your goal. In an actual, it had to hang out. So if I was at the bar and I had my car keys on me, like a laminated piece of paper was hanging off my thing, and people were like, "What is that?" That's a truck I'm going to buy. and 2 weeks after that class was over, I had the truck.
Wow.
So
you know what I'm learning about you, Matt? I do this at every show. I listen and I learn and I pay attention, and then I try and stamp the label and find out your why. So your why is right behind you, up above you. See that word coach? You're coachable, right? That is a hard thing, Matt. Like not everyone is coachable. You're not just because you were the ultimate student, you can then become the ultimate coach. And it sounds cliche, but I'm listening to you and you are a learner. You literally, you bring it in, you swallow it, you implement it, and then you execute it. And that, to me, draws the parallels behind your athletics. I bet you were the same way as an athlete. I'm guessing as you got mentored by the right people and eventually got the shitty coach, so you got out, right? Makes sense. But like, it's. Am I right? That's what.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I always say, realtors, you need a coach.
Yep.
And in today's world, we can also have teams to join. That are, being coached, or that can be the mentor. But coach me on how to do it, make a contest at it, and I'm going to be one of your top.
That's what I mean. So to me, that's it with you. Like, and you do it. You're just not, you're like, fuck it. I'm going to do it. Fuck it. Like, give it to me. I'm going to eat it. And then I'm going to kick everyone's ass. I love it.
Yeah.
So is that, I mean, for lack of a better way of saying it, is that how you got to 5? Was it scaling with other teams? How'd you get to number 5?
Other coaches.
Coaches. Okay.
Other coaches. Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, good, my first good year, and
you get the cold calling, you feel your confidence.
Learned how to do listings, right? Which nobody really taught back then.
So what about, give me the listing juice. Give me your thought process in that. What's the direction for you on that?
I mean, look, there's 100 ways to get a listing now. The market's different now. But what it taught me and what agents need to learn, you don't know what the hell to do when you get in the house.
Yeah.
All these courses teach you to get an appointment, but you don't know what the hell you're doing when you sit down.
Yeah.
So find a course that can teach you that, right?
Yeah.
And then just repeat the process, man. Like, it's it. Yeah, it took me 1,000 calls this time and 20 conversations to get an appointment. Well, why? Why did you have to have 20 conversations? What did you say wrong? Right? To where, and what did you say right to get the appointment? And then the next time you're not going to have 20. You're going to have 15. And then you get it down to 10. And then there's a numbers game to how many you can convert. So after that course, I joined his elite level, I guess it was called, and you had to sell 5 million. So I busted my butt to sell $5 million one year to make sure I could go to his elite level. We made a local mastermind. We met somewhere on 70, like Red Lion Diner, with agents out of my market, and just mastermind a little bit. And then 2010, I broke my collarbone playing sports, playing men's softball. Awesome play, though. I caught it, and then my arm broke and it popped out. But
hey, at least you went out with glory, right?
Yeah, everybody heard it, right? So I was like, shit. I remember being in a sling, and I had my I don't know if I had my son and daughter. No, I think I had both at that time. But either way, I was in the office the next day in a sling, and I got an order to change keys, right? To go change locks on an REO, one of our listings. And I'm like, if I get hurt, like, I got zero money. The water stops running if I get hurt. So then I found my next coach, because I said I need a team. Everybody was telling me to build a team and all this shit. And I was like, I don't want to be an adult babysitter and all that nonsense. But seek the best to be the best. And, that I found a buddy of mine, Jay Kinder Reese Coaching. They were 2 guys selling over 250 sales a year. That created a coaching company and a model to their team back when teams were newer, that I was like, they're a couple years older than me, but they're still selling houses. And that's what I want. I don't want the guys that are just, you had all these older coaches and they're still around, but they haven't made a call in 10 years, 20 years, some of them. Right. But they're teaching you how to do it. And it's like, all right, you haven't made calls. And then the internet marketing was coming out. So the older coaches had no knowledge of, Instagram, Facebook, just everything that was coming out, and they had everything. They knew everything. Their teams were operating at a high level. Copied that model, took my team from, personally, I would always sell between about 50 and 60 homes. And when I took my team first year with 1 or 2 team members, we did 80 some odd sales. Next time, we 120 sales, I think 8-9 years in a row.
And what was it about having multiple people that allowed you to do more? Was it just teaching them the same principles? And
I mean, you hold them accountable, right? Chad, if you're on my team, I want to know what you want out of this career. How can I help you succeed? And I had to grow as a, mentor and a coach on how to coach you, right?
Which is so hard. That is harder.
Yeah.
That is harder. It really is.
We all learn lessons, right? Yeah. We're all young in business at some point.
Yeah. And, but to be able to successfully coach others, I found is more of a skill. It really is, because that's the true essence of a successful team. Amazing. I could do this with you all day. I love this. I really, you are so well versed in why you're succeeding. And that, to me, is the definition of a superstar. It's the whole element of why we do this show, because it wasn't by accident. It really wasn't. None of this was. All right. So I'm going to shut my mouth. So then you go through all this. You're succeeding. You're in the traditional broker model, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
Tell us about your jump to the newer model, where you're at now. I know we got 6 minutes left. I'm going to get us there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of my friends, my mentor at the time, looked at EXP. I saw the opportunity for growth. And in my career, I had the opportunity to open a Keller Williams. And I say that's one opportunity I missed because I watched it grow in my market and I could have been one of the investors and team
And the
leaders.
big thing with Keller Williams is downstream income, right? What's the big, is it the passive income? Is it the, what's
I mean, at the time, it was just an opportunity to build one of the, an office that was going to eventually, be very, very successful.
Just be top in their market. Got it.
Yeah. And instead of just, for lack of a better term, every agent is renting their franchise name from the broker that owns the franchise agreement.
Right.
And then EXP kind of changed the game. And I tell everybody, look, these models all exist, right? It's people modeling and copying the model and taking what works as the evolution.
But
right?
but let's be fair. Like, there's so many to choose from. There really are, and there's so many. You can easily listen to the wrong person or take the wrong direction. It's like being stuck at the bartending job. It's really true when you think about it. If you don't take the right steps or aren't mentored by the right people, you're fucked. I mean, you could really be fucked.
I used to have people interview on my team and ask me, if I go to Keller or whoever, they're going to give me a 75% split. I said, that's awesome. Go get 75%. But just let me ask you a question. 75% of zero deals is worth what?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry that I'm 50-50, but at the end of the day, I know that you're going to have the amount of leads that are required for you to get your 2 to 3 settlements a month.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to the different brands and all that stuff, the choices, EXP did help the world see the better way, which is this model where the broker can be housed out of one office for the entire state. And, and that model, again, that was in existence in multiple states.
That's what I was going to ask you. Were they at the forefront of that or no?
I think they were the biggest. They hit it big after about their 8th year. So they had been running for a while, but I think the market was ready. Right. And then you can follow the opportunity of being at a brokerage where you become a shareholder, in essence, an owner. Right. And then they have a revenue share model, which, what would you rather, profit share versus revenue share? I'll take I'll take a nickel when somebody makes $1 over. If there's profit, we'll pay you.
That makes sense.
And then that's the evolving that you're going to hear revenue share from a lot of the brokerages now. You're going to hear stock plans, but I tell everybody, if it's real stock, look at it. If it's stock in my branch or my whatever, because some of the companies do that as well, it's not real stock. If you're getting real shares of something publicly traded on NASDAQ, that's something to sit back and do the math on and learn the opportunity at least, so you can say yes or no. And here at Real Broker, we have those options for the agents, right? And anybody local to me, I'm always open to hire agents on my team, mentor them, get them up and running. The new model has shifted my opinion of a team's value to where I believe I can help somebody succeed and grow off my team. Just because of the way of the world, eventually, sorry, team leaders, the secret's out. You buy the leads for the team. That's it. You buy the leads and you have the CRMs. Right?
You got to learn somehow.
So at the end of the day, it's just easy to sit back and understand where, all right, the team member is only going to want to pay you so long.
Sure.
They're taking it on a less risky basis when they're on your team because they don't have to front the outgoing expense every month. But when they have enough funds to buy their own leads, they can just go buy their own leads and hold themselves accountable. Right. So in this model, I'm able to still retain people in my downline and be their mentor and person they look up to as somebody who sold a lot more real estate than them. While they're not on my team, I still get a little paycheck every time they do.
And then your coaching business, does that allow you to go? Do you help people outside of real estate as well?
It's mainly realtors.
Okay, mainly realtors. Okay.
Yeah, mainly realtors. So I help them get structured in business. I'm not an accountability coach. I'm not going to tell you go make 20 calls this week. If your business needs structure, you need to know how to set up a team. You need to know the tech you need and what systems you should be using. That's my specialty. Very versed in CRMs and getting your business on track the right way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I know we're out of time. Just for you personally and professionally, what's your end game? What's your goal? What do you want? What do you want?
You know, I like the opportunity that we have here at Real Brokerage. I got great partners. We have a great leadership crew. And, you know, I really see the founder's vision for building the best brokerage in the country and the world eventually, right? Everybody scales out of the US. So we're in US and Canada. We only have like 5 to 10 states left to open in. And, you know, helping this company grow and, you know, have enough, again, financial freedom's everybody's end game, right?
Yep.
So once we do that, you know, helping people will, and this goes all the way back to Floyd Wickman, my first coach. And one of his things, you had to stand there and say the mantra every time you open the class up, but we get by giving. And if you help enough people, what they will give back to you will 10x anything you've ever given.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, this has been awesome. I could sit back and I learn more and more as we go, but your reason as to why you're a superstar is completely obvious to me. So anyone that watches this, I know will feel the same way. We speak to agents as well as, you know, consumers and the general public out here, but it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. I look forward to having you on again. We're always trying to find new things. So next time, maybe we'll talk about your market and do some updates on that, good stuff like that. But happy holidays. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. And everyone else out there, see you guys next week. Thanks again for watching another edition of the SuperStar Show. Peace.